Welcome, friends and family. So excited to be here with you today with one of our superstar team members, Ciera Anglin. Ciera, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you'd be with us today. Today, we want to talk to you, Ciera and I want to talk to you about a book that we're going through. It's called Make Today Count. And that's really, we really want to encourage you. Are you making your days count? Mm-hmm. See, a lot of days will stack up, and before long we look back, it's almost at the end of the year, then a decade, and then, before you know it, 20, 30, 40, 50 year, a lifetime. And so what are the practical things we can do today to make matter? Now, Ciera, you've been with us now nearly 2 years, mm-hmm. and so you've had a really good year. It's been a tough year to be doing real estate sales. This year, how many have you closed on so far?
I closed 31. So 31. I am just over what my goal was for last year, which feels amazing.
That's great. Yeah. And you've done that early with some time left on the clock.
I did, which is phenomenal. So with my goal of 40, I'm sitting at 31, so I've got a little bit of time left to cross the finish line.
Yeah, and one of the things that Ciera and I often talk about is like, guys, we don't want to crawl across the finish line. We don't want to walk across the finish line. We want to run across the finish line. And Ciera knows as well as anybody, the only way you really do that is if you set big goals. Mm-hmm. Or if you set your goals small, I've seen people do it, Ciera. I've seen them get to their goal. Let's say they set that goal for 30. Yeah. And by November, they're done. Mm-hmm. And they don't start up again until February or March.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens when you set little goals. When you set big goals, goals are going to stretch you. Mm-hmm. You don't have the luxury of slowing down to get across the finish line. You got to keep running.
I'm sprinting at this point. So,
and so Ciera went through this chapter with us as a team the other day, and she did such a wonderful job. I said, Ciera, would you mind to come and talk to our listening audience about it? And this one's on a word that I absolutely love, mm-hmm. and it's the word commitment. Today I was having breakfast with my family this morning, and I had asked them, and I'm going to ask you this question, Ciera, and then maybe mm-hmm. you can share with us and the listening audience, but I said, it can be very difficult to stand by a commitment naively made. It can be very difficult mm-hmm. to stand by a commitment naively made. Yeah. Let me ask you this first. Do you think in America as a whole, are we good at making commitments as a whole? Are we like good commitment makers?
I don't want to be a pessimist, but probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. When we're seeing as many, and no judgment here, mm-hmm. but when we're seeing as many as divorces that are mm-hmm. coming into play, and you're still young, sad. You've not been married yet. Mm-mm. Thankfully I've been married, be 17 years at 16 or 17 years mm-hmm. in December. And so I've realized more and more what commitment looks like. Yeah. Commitment can be hard.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it can.
And I think a lot of people, I like this word naively made, right? Mm-hmm. And we're getting pretty serious here. We can keep it light. Have you ever made like a naive commitment and then like halfway through realized, dang, what was I thinking?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And I have a lot of things come up on the top of my head, honestly, but the biggest one for me was college. Mm. College was my probably biggest naively made decision. And let me tell you why. It was just, of course, something that everyone talks about through school as an expectation that I felt I had from family and friends. Mm-hmm. But funny enough, I had a teacher. It was my Spanish teacher, Mr. Mish. He told me, you don't have to go to college. You can, do any other career. Well, in my 17-year-old mind, that did not make sense. So I went to college and did the thing. Mm-hmm. $20,000 in debt later. Oh, wow. Got the degree. I went through and I finished it out. But I think I had wanted to do real estate really my whole life. So if I had really sat and thought what I wanted to do going forward and what my goals were, would I have gone to college? I don't know. Yeah. But it's definitely, it's something I completed, but it was something that I think I could have put a lot more thought into. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people just think like it's just rowing, right? Yeah. This is the track we're on, so this is what we got to do.
That was my mindset, 100%.
And it's kind of been programmed into the American culture. I know it's also, with my wife being from Britain, it's the British culture as well. Sure. They're incredibly smart people, but they don't see a different track. Yeah. Truthfully, like you said, I know a lot of people that are still paying off, and I'm 49, I know a lot of people that are still paying off college debt. Sure. They're way smarter than most people, but they were just programmed to do it, and they're not using it today. No, they're not using it. Yeah, so that was a great example. So thank you. You couldn't have probably gave us a better example. I read this, and I want to ask you, Ciera, and just as you talked to me and the listening audience here, I read this. This really resonated with me. I love this, what Maxwell put in here. He says, anyone who desires to achieve and become successful must be like a fine craftsperson, committed to excellence. A great craft person wants you to inspect their work, to look closely at the finest details. Now, in contrast, the sloppy people hide their work. And if anyone finds fault with their shoddy work, they find fault with the tools. Which one would you say you preference? Like for you, which one would you say you lean towards more?
I would personally say the first, and I feel like my personal maybe anxiety kind of plays into that of just, I feel personally it's not if, but when someone's going to check your work. And I feel like things are going to get found no matter what. Whether it's the client, I mean, just in real estate alone, the client, the lender, the title company, a mistake is going to get found. So I would rather take a little bit of extra time, do it right the first time, and have no issues. That's just me, though. That's just on my conscience.
Your conscience. You wouldn't feel good about yourself if you were doing shoddy work. And thank God this is the type of real estate agent, professional that you would want to work with in this profession, but in any work Ciera does. Like she said, it's not really due to anyone. I think if she was working at Panera Bread or Aldi or Walmart, she would carry herself this way. And I'll never forget my wife one time, Ciera, we were conversating. She was getting really upset with some of the quality of work that was being done within the operation. So this has been 7 or 8 years ago. And I just remember she was getting so upset. And, you know, unfortunately, we all have a tendency sometimes to go with the cheapest help, not the best help. And when you're first starting a company, guys, sometimes that's the only option you feel like you got. And so I was looking to hire people that were at the very best quality I could get for the very lowest pay. And this is something that had been passed down to me from my dad's dad. Came over from Bologna, Italy. His mother was first generation Italian. So they were cutting corners, man. They were always trying to save on expense. So I'd carried that over into here. And I'll never forget, man, Lindsay was getting so upset about some of the work to be done. And she loved the person, hated the work.
That's a hard position.
That's tough. And so, but I said to her, I said, well, Lindsay, what do we pay her? And she's like, well, it's $12 an hour. I said, yeah. And so what do you expect when you're paying somebody $12 an hour? And Ciera, I'll never forget, she looked right at me and she said, Elijah, it would not matter to me if you paid me $12 an hour or $10 an hour or $8 an hour. I'm always going to give you the best job that I possibly can.
And same results.
And I said to her, and I don't know if it was just a God thing at this moment, but I said to her, and Lindsay, that's why you're running a company.
Right. Not everybody has that same mindset, which is unfortunate. But it makes you think just what gives them purpose going forward. But everyone's different. So I mean, that's not everyone's priority.
I think it goes back a little bit to the old parental principle. 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. And so as I've grown now, I'm always trying to find that look to align myself with that 20% because there's no going to the next level when you're doing shoddy work. Have you ever seen anybody, or do you have thoughts in mind of when you've known people to do shoddy work, like when you've asked them? You've been in a few manager roles in your career and in your life so far. When you're in those roles and you kind of call somebody out on shoddy work because that's not your expectation, that's not your standard, you're going for excellence. When you begin to see it and you call them out, like have you gotten some weird responses?
Well, a lot of the times it's just defensiveness. And I don't think a lot of people really even mean to be that way. I think it's really just programmed in people nowadays because a lot of people just aren't held to a standard or have accountability in their life or know what that looks like. But I think that's something that has to be grown into. But for me, I mean, it's do your job honestly, integrally, and the hardest that you can. And so I feel like I try to have those conversations with people, not to come over them, but come beside them and say, hey, how can I help? But the conversation doesn't typically start that easy. And not everyone is as responsive to that. So, I mean, I have to pick my battles.
For sure. And a lot of times folks, like you said, I agree, they're not aware of it. But when you come up and you say, hey, bro, you need to tuck your shirt in,
Sure.
You're not looking to tie your shoes. You know, it's just some basics right here.
Yeah, because you care.
Because you care. But naturally, they take it personally.
Oh, of course.
And then you see the defensive side come out, and it's like they can take it a lot better when you can come beside them than over them.
And I've just learned that with my own personal experience of being the employer. You know what I mean? I don't want to be spoke to like I'm less than or anything like that.
No, yeah. When people can speak to your character, you know, like I know this ain't who you are, or I know you can do better.
Sure.
It pulls them up versus
beating them down. Yeah. My gosh, yeah.
But the natural response is almost always defensive, and so it's almost like when you're in those roles, you've got to almost become kind of like with sales, right? They can always tell you when you first talk to them, you know, so, you know, would you like to go see it? No, I don't want to see it. But you know they just called on it. And you know they're interested. Yeah. So it's like their response naturally is no. And to be really good at sales, you've got to get a little hard at hearing. Like you can't really hear that no. You got to kind of check under the hood. Yeah. And ask a few more questions. And so I think when you're in a leadership role and you're trying to help somebody up level their game and you come at it with the, you know, I expected that a little bit defensive response, but I'm not going to let that affect me. I'm not taking it personal, and I hope you don't either. And I hope we can get across this, you know. Yeah. And let's work together to do a good job at this. And a lot of times that's how you get them to grow. Yes. Yeah. That's how I've grown over the years, and I know that for sure. So. Amen. Amen. Well, Ciera, one last question for you. I've loved this question. I thought this would be something really good to ask you. I know in your top 5 strengths you have discipline, so commitment is something that you're able to, like, it's hard for some people to ever commit and hit a commitment. Sure. A lot of people, I think there's probably 2 or 3 reasons why people don't make commitments. One, they're just beat down. They're low self-esteem. You know, something happened to them in their life that they did not feel very valuable. And so if they set a goal and make a commitment, they just naturally think they're going to fail. Yeah, or don't even know where to start. Yeah. You know, have that support. Yeah, no accountability, no support, no confidence. So they're not going to even try to commit because they just don't feel like they're worthy of that. Secondly, I think pride gets in the way for a lot of people. Big time. You know what I mean? Like they're too scared to fail. And I think that's a bit of pride right there. It's like, go ahead, set the commitment, think about it, set it, go after it. Don't let fear stop you or don't let pride stop you. And so, but you have a natural discipline. And, you know, we've watched you now going on 2 years. You came in here, you set goals, you stretched goals, you don't let up, you do everything in your power generally to get to where you're wanting to go. Thank you. So when you accomplish something, that you once believed was impossible, it makes you a new person. It changes the way you see yourself and see the world. Yeah. Ciera, have you had some of those life-changing experiences? If so, when? Yeah, very honestly, so thankful to have had those experiences because I feel like it's seriously made me the person I am today. If you would have met me 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you can ask my friends, I feel like I've just not a completely different person, but just have gained the confidence from completing these commitments that I've set for myself. First one, losing 100 pounds starting at age of 16. Wow. That was a huge one for me. And I mean, talk about lack of confidence as a young girl. It's very hard. So, I mean, against all the odds, it took me until I was probably 22 years old to achieve that, but it's just something that I knew was going to be for the best benefit of myself and just growing. I mean, growing in confidence in myself. I would say number 2 thing would be getting my real estate license full-heartedly. It has changed me as a person so much, and just seeing the value in myself and what I can offer to others while still making that a career and making friends out of it. I mean, that is huge. But I mean, backpedaling that a little bit, I got my real estate license fresh off of not getting a job that I applied and interviewed for my college degree that I just spent that $20,000 on. So, I mean, talk about an ego crush. Yeah. That was, I mean, I had to pick up and say, what am I doing next? And going through getting my real estate license 6 months later, ended up in a company that took me where I am today. Amen. Amen. Huge confidence boost. Yeah, it's great. It's great. So it can, I think what I heard right there, Ciera, and for our listening audience, when you set goals and you accomplish them, it changes you. Huge. It is how you build self-confidence, self-worth, self-value, is when you set goals, and they don't have to be far-out goals. Like, we're coming to the end of the year. Ciera worked with us last year. She knows what's about to come. We're going to start talking about 2026. we're going to start talking about what the will of life, what goals do we want to work towards and accomplish in the next 12 months. And what's going to happen is we're going to make today matter because we know we're purposefully, intentionally trying to achieve something. So every day we wake up, we're working towards accomplishing that. And Ciera is by far one of the best I've ever met at doing that. And God supernaturally blessed this lady with a little extra dose of discipline. And how do I know it? We'll end this meeting right now, and Ciera will go right back to her schedule and get going. And she's sitting there thinking right now, I wish this guy would quit talking so I can get back up there and get going on what these things I need to get done. That's the way Ciera's mind works. Not everybody's mind works like that. So she's got an extra gift and extra talent there. And then the thing you got to be careful with when you have strong discipline, strong focus, is in life we can get a little lopsided because we can be so focused on that goal or so focused on accomplishing that we forget to breathe and everything else going on. And Ciera does such a good job at keeping balance in all those areas. Ciera, thank you. Appreciate you being here with us today.
I appreciate it. Absolutely. It's a great topic.
Amen.
It's a great topic.
And so, hey, guys, we just encourage you, make today matter, make this week matter. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Absolutely.